Good evening. The time being 7:02 on December 17th, 2018, and December 3rd, 2018.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Execute minutes. Moving on to agenda item B, B1, committee reports. Anybody have any committee reports they need to make at this time?
Yes, Chairman. We have the elementary school building committee meeting Thursday evening here at the town hall, 7 p.m.
Very good.
7? You said 7 p.m.?
Yes.
Can anybody come to that?
Yes, it's open to public meeting.
Very good.
Right.
All right. Anybody else?
The local housing partnership met this week, actually last week, and discussed a number of issues as far as the affordable housing numbers we have. The permit was, I think, approved,
It was discussed today.
exactly, right?
Yeah, Rick picked it up today.
Okay. Was that for South Street?
Yep.
No, okay. I was speaking of 2230 Main Street. That was still, it's still up and almost approved, I think, so, but when those numbers come online, we will be above the 10% quota for affordable housing for Tewksbury, so that's a good thing. I think the permit's been applied for, maybe not approved, but being applied for, we are able to submit those numbers, I believe, to the CHD for the units, and that makes us over the quota we need for units. The other thing we talked about is the other affordable house that's coming up on South Street. Permits have been pulled and approved, and construction's underway. The first floor framing is already underway, and should be progressing, hopefully completed by April maybe of next year. And another veteran will be coming into town in an affordable unit, so that's ongoing. And the last thing I want to mention is the ongoing issue we have down on Main Street with the other affordable unit coming up in another year or so, but that's coming and in process, so that's it.
All right, very good. Any others? All set? All right, moving on to agenda item B2, 11 Old Boston Road, Archstone Avenue, non-substantial change request. Do we have anybody here for that? Oh, come on up.
Hi, I'm Tony from Image 4.
Floor is yours.
Oh, okay, so we are asking to add 3 basalt art stones to the same footing as the main sign that was approved already. We just want to use the same footing. We got submitted some engineering plans so that we could do that all at once versus having 2 different footings on that site.
All right.
Excuse me, could you repeat that?
Oh, sure. So there's a main sign that was already approved.
Yes.
And these art stones will share the same platform or footing as that main sign. So we just want to extend the footing of that main sign to include the 3 art stones. So we have provided engineer drawings to provide an additional footing and instructions on how we're going to install those art stones.
I think I'm still missing something.
Mr. Fratelli?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess that couple of the art stones looking like what?
Pardon?
We have a rendering of what?
Yes, you do with so your rendering was provided a while ago with the main signs. The art stones were never applied to that. Hold on a second. That's not the rendering, that's the engineer drawing.
Yeah.
We'd probably have to go back to the original plans that were approved. I don't know if you have that.
They're actually, from what, I believe they are on S4 back page, I believe.
That's four. Oh, I'm missing something here.
Last page, I believe that's what
Can I take a look?
they're.
Oops, sorry.
You see?
Okay, so this is the new engineer drawing. Yep, this is the main sign
Okay.
that was already been approved with this footing. We are proposing to add additional footing with these art stones. That's it.
And what are the stones gonna be?
They're basalt stone. The whole thing is a basalt stone column. And on the request there's 3 different heights.
Yeah,
9, 12, and 14.
feet?
Yes, feet. And then the platform will also have, in the engineer drawing, they'll have pins that will also secure, and then we will additionally have a 12-foot section of concrete in addition to the footing.
I was trying
Setting.
to figure this process out, what you were trying to do.
Okay,
I still have an idea what you want to do.
Okay.
But I still would really, I don't know if my other colleagues agree, but to see a design of what it's gonna look like for us.
yeah, you actually have that in the original signs that were approved in those original renderings, which I can send you again. The art stones were part of that. They just never,
Ever approved?
nope, nobody ever addressed that when Will came to do the original permits for the signs. That's why I'm
I
here.
don't think it was ever discussed about the addition on the base of the sign to make it wider.
It was never, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you're asking for a rendering of the art stones. You guys already have that. So I can send that to you again. That was rendered with the original signs that we submitted. Nobody ever accounted for them. That's why I'm here, because it was kind of left out.
I don't know if we have those available for us to review, but
So,
I don't have
let me just see, just so I can get, maybe, because now I'm even more confused than I was at the beginning.
Myself
So,
included. I missed it.
If, just so we're clear.
Sure.
If these were included in the original plan that we received,
There weren't, he just asked for a rendering. He just asked for an art rendering. He didn't, nothing was submitted in an original plan. They were rendered in the design that we submitted to the town. So we sent you pretty pictures of what it would look with all the landscape. Those art stones were part of that art rendering when we originally applied for the sign permit and all of these permits.
right, that's
Yep.
what we use when we approve the permits for the signs, was what you sent in.
Correct, and that's what he had asked me, and I said, yes, we had already, we submitted that, so it's already part of the original record. So
What I'm saying is, if you
Yeah.
are looking to add on to that, a footing for
Yeah.
the new portion of the sign, I don't believe we ever approved that additional footing that you're talking about.
No, you
And the 9,
didn't.
12, and 14-foot.
You didn't, that's why I'm here, to get approval for the art stones and the footings. That's it. It was left out of the original request that happened in July.
I think what Mr. Fattalia is saying is, we now want to know, what is it going to look like to us with this in there now?
Gotcha. Okay, so there's 2 ways you can see that. On the engineered drawings, which I've provided.
No, I'm not sure, I don't want engineers.
Oh, okay,
I want to know what it's going to look like
Sure.
as a rendering.
Right.
With these footings you're asking for that you're saying we didn't approve yet.
correct?
You want us to now.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying is I'll have to submit that again because that was, there is a rendering. It was,
Okay, but if you send in a rendering and then didn't talk to us about it, we have no reason to have been remembering to look at it at the
Okay,
time.
yeah,
So
sure.
not seeing it now poses
okay.
a problem
I
this time.
didn't understand that I would need that. I apologize.
Mr. Fattalia, you can continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, so that's what we'd like
Sure.
next time you come in.
Absolutely.
I'm not comfortable approving something. that
Absolutely.
we haven't discussed. I guess the other question I have is, and I'll ask my other board members, is if you're adding another piece of the footing, is that considered part of the sign? I mean, I won't discuss that now, but if we see the renderings for the next meeting, we'll be able to have a chance to take a look at that and see if we consider that part of the sign.
Right.
Now you're expanding the sign base and everything else. So we'll see that next submission if we could.
Sure.
Another question I have, Mr. Chairman, is on this motion that we made back in September, it said a new site plan must be submitted showing that signs B and C are moved back from the site lot line.
They sent that to
You
us.
said that? Okay.
Yeah, we got that aspect back. We just wanted to get the.
Yeah, we read that. Yeah, back, so, other than that, I'm all set, just to see some new renderings.
Can I just so the engineer has been working with the applicant to discuss the moving the structures and signs out of the right of way. So for further details, you can reach out to
I'm sorry, they're discussing it with whom?
with the applicant,
No, who is?
Kevin Hartman.
Okay, and what is he discussing with them? Moving the signs?
So for signs, there's several signs that were built in the right of way in the structures, and so the town engineer is working.
So they put the signs in the wrong place? Because we've already approved the signs, so that's what I'm saying. So they were put in the wrong place?
No signs have been installed yet. I think she's talking about footings.
The footings are, I've been over, I was over there. The footings are located within the town right away. So
Yeah, that's why we're.
they need to, one, either get an easement from the town or relocate the footings off the town right of way.
How did that happen, though? Because I thought the whole point was
That
we
was
pushed
part
all
of,
the
we
signs back.
specifically made them come back and pushed, what was it, D, B, C, as well as F. That was the point of discussion. Pushed them back, specifically, I believe it was D was pushed back from its original location, as well as F, because there was in the rendering, it was too close to the road, as well as B and C, we pushed back to the fence posts that were in the specific rendering.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, the engineer can deal with it, I guess. If they're not where they need to be, they need to move them, so that's fine. Is that it? Anything else?
Yeah, that's all I want to add.
Mr. Delaney?
I think I'm still confused. What's going to go on? There's 9 and 12 and 14-foot poles.
They are basalt stone columns, 4 inches square, 9 feet, 12 feet, and 14 feet high.
What's going on them?
Nothing. It's an art piece.
Oh,
There's no sign, there's nothing, it's just a piece of stone.
now I
Three
think I'm
piece-
understanding some of it.
3 pieces of stone, columns, stone columns. All set with me, or? Oh, okay, sorry.
I have a couple questions, specifically locations of these specific art columns. Are they at, which sign locations are they going at? All?
Nope,
Or
just
which
the,
one?
just the main one.
The main, well, it says main, but what is the main one?
So the main one
A?
is sign A.
Okay. I do have a couple of concerns about that. Being a little familiar with concrete and granite bollards of this sort, I don't feel that a 48-inch steel pipe, only 4 feet up out of the ground, for a 14-foot column is sufficient.
That's not the only, that's not it.
Okay, well, according to the drawings, it
Do you
shows a
see the
four-
additional 12 inches of concrete?
Yes, well, I'm concerned of what's above ground.
Yep.
In New England, and these are going to be close to the road, when they're cold, a granite bollard of this sort snaps very easily.
Sorry,
Well,
basalt?
Basalt stone will snap very easily, only at 4 inches above that pin. It shows in here 4 feet. You have a 3.5-inch OD steel pipe that's in the center of this with 4 pins.
Yeah.
I'm concerned that above that 4-foot mark would be, become a fracture point. and then that's a 12, you're talking another 8 feet of stone potential to fall. I'd
So is
like-
that an
I'd like the,
engineering
I'd like the engineer to look at that, have the town engineer to look at that.
Yep.
As well as any type of safety concern on that.
And they're made of what?
Salt stone, so.
Basalt.
Basalt.
So, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I'm just concerned that, you know, they're very fragile in
That's
winter.
why-
They snap
Right.
very easily.
Understood, that's exactly why we got the
That's-
engineers.
Right,
plans, yeah.
I'm concerned that the weak point is at 48 inches.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That may be something that on the higher columns, that 3.5-inch OD pipe be brought up higher within the stone itself to strengthen the structure. I'm not so much concerned about within the 12-foot depth, very depth, but I'm concerned of what above grade, the portion above grade.
What?
Do we need to coordinate
salt
with the
stone?
engineer, the town engineer?
I can follow up with him.
And I think we can have that answer
next meeting,
for the next meeting when they bring back the rendering.
Yeah, hopefully.
Now, is there going to be anything on this, just a 4-inch basic decorative? Are they
No,
going
just
to,
a-
no illumination?
Nothing.
Okay. Okay. No further. Thank you.
Can I ask a stupid question? What is salt stone? I'm missing something here.
It's
He
just
says
a,
it's fragile.
It's a piece of granite-type stone, 4x4, pretty much.
So it's the granite stone.
But this is out of the salt stone.
it's a different kind
Because I've
of,
never heard of it.
it's because it's a
Correct.
West Coast stone. This company is from the West Coast.
Yeah.
They deal with, unfortunately, West Coast stone. We wanted granite, they wanted basalt.
All right, well,
It's what they've dealt with at all the other properties that they've done. It's kind of,
which
Their
is
signature.
fine,
yeah.
well, but I think to Mr. Ryder's point, this is the northeast. It's
We've-
going
we've-
on Main Street.
Yeah.
I want to be sure, is this, I can't really see it. What is the distance from the street that these pillars are going to be?
This one's 18 feet from back, it looks like back of the right-of-way. Yes, 18 feet, plus or minus 18 feet to the edge of the,
That's the closest of the three, right?
that's the closest of the three, and the concern raises another point. When you, the orientation of this sign, what would be the orientation of this sign? The sign with the 3 bollards at the backside, or the 3 bollards in the sign? Which way is this oriented in conjunction with the road? Is the road here? Is the sign this orientation or this
So-
orientation?
The sign is, are you asking me where the road is?
Yes, is the roadway here?
Yep, so let me show you,
Columns are closer to the road.
no.
No.
Columns are farthest away from,
The inner side.
yes, closest to Towers Drive. So
Okay,
here's
so-
Main
So
Street.
the columns are like this.
So,
Here's the sign here?
yes, right.
Okay, so
Yep.
the columns
So
are,
where the sign is, it's on the, is that east?
yes.
So it's on the east side.
So it is the sign edge. The original sign that we approved edge is at the 18-foot mark. The columns, the art
Is on the
columns
east.
will be east, northeast of that.
But
think that would fall also too, I think,
Yeah, you gotta
we would,
figure it out.
my opinion, I think, I don't know, you may be able to clarify this. We would approve the sign modification, but the building department would ultimately approve that type of structure, correct?
Yeah, well, the other thing too is, are they even signs?
No, it's, there's no sign.
Decorative.
It's just
I
art.
don't even know if that's the right thing to be doing here, is modifying the sign special permit, when they're not signs at all.
It's it's conjunction with the sign footings,
That's the problem.
but they're technically not part, they're not a sign, they're separate, separate structures from the sign. So I think we may look for some clarification if that falls to the building department, or, I don't know.
Why don't we see some rendering, Steve, maybe we can discuss it further?
Well, here's the thing, then, included in all this, I mean, again, I want to be as cooperative as possible in keeping this as a non-substantial change, if we can. However, as I sit here, you've got engineers looking at it, we have concerns about, you know, the height of the pillars and where they may or may not fall if something happens. It's on Main Street. I mean, there's always the possibility of an accident that drives somebody off the road into one of these things. And, you know, as Mr. Ryder's pointed out, depending on where and how high these footings are going, whether or not someone's going to hit one of these things in the dead of winter,
Right.
when it's at its most fragile, and then 14-foot pillars are crashing down onto a car. I'm not comfortable with that unless I feel like they're so out of the way that it would take some sort of, you know, miracle of an accident to find their way to these pillars at a speed at which they're going to have a problem. So those are all things that I want to be able to consider with this. Whether or not that stays within the realm of non-substantial change. And I'm still unclear exactly whether or not these really are sign-related. I understand the footings are, but as a general rule, I'm not really sure we're in the business of approving or not approving art here. I mean, I'm not trying to be
No, absolutely,
funny.
I don't know if that,
Like, that's a whole different thing. And
That's
like
another
restrictions or non-restrictions on art and its placement, much as I'm amused by the one I read about the guy who put up the middle finger to his town, came under a different rule. So I'm not even 100% sure we're fully the ones who should be dealing with this or not. If it is a sign, well, then we're gonna have to deal with the fact that we have to measure this out somehow. It becomes part of what we approve. So if we're making some sort of an allowance, you know, and granting, you know, a waiver, I mean, or a further waiver as part of this, then I wanna make sure we do it right, for
Right.
one.
Okay.
But, and I understand the footings are involved, but I just don't know how, I mean, they aren't in any way really part of the sign. These are
No.
additional and to the side, and don't in any way give directional or you know, anything to do with the sign. I don't know. I'm unclear for sure.
Steve, question. Is there somebody we can go to for clarification?
That's sort of what I'm getting to, so I think, why don't we start with Steve and see if we can get some sort of a decision out of Steve? And if he can't help, I mean, I guess at some point, you know, we're gonna have to ask town council, because I just don't know for sure that this is us. All of it anyways, I'm not sure. If it is, that's fine. I'm unclear because we're definitely dealing with art and not really sign structures here. And like I said, we're also, you know, we're gonna need to talk to the engineer, because I wanna be sure that this West Coast product is gonna stand up to the East Coast rigors.
yes.
Which, you know, I think Mr. Ryder's already, you know, brought some question on.
Sure.
So for now, I'm okay with leaving this in this non-substantial change department, provided what kind of answers we get and whatnot between now and the next meeting. But I'm not, and I won't speak for anybody else, but I'm not gonna guarantee that when this comes back, if we're still at a level of discomfort, that this might not have to just go its normal process for this. Because again, I mean, if this was in the back signs maybe, where, you know, traffic's rolling along at a slow pace, maybe. And I'm not against things on Main Street looking good, I would prefer it. 14, 12, and 9-foot pillars, you know, I'm not as comfortable yet with, and that's just me. So,
Yeah, I don't want it to
I'm just
look
one
like
person.
a cell tower thing.
but I mean, more so, art's art, that's in the eye of the beholder, I suppose. Yeah. But pillars falling on cars, that's in the eye of me, and I'm, uncomfortable with that at this point.
Sure, may I suggest that we maybe contact Murdoch Engineering on this as well, and ask their opinion on the height and structure as far as support wise? And we will ask our engineer as well, and maybe get some feedback from them, because it says here, Murdoch Engineering, sign, structure, and professionals. So, maybe they can give you a letter or confirmation that it will hold up. They're from New Jersey, so, that's all, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
So I think there's a few things. We'd like to have the rendering. We want to have some answers on engineering, both the specific question and just the general, how's this going to hold up?
Sure.
You may need to provide the why will this hold up?
Sure.
And then our engineer can say, oh, that looks good, or that's not quite true, or whatever. But, we got a few weeks, so I'd say between now and then, that would be useful. So, anybody else with any other questions?
Just one point of information. This is a modification to the site plan special permit, not the sign.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought we were doing sign. My
So
apologies.
that was part of it.
Okay.
So it was part of the site plan also. So
Okay,
that
that's
would
fine.
be why it falls under your purview,
Okay.
not the sign.
Okay, so it's not, so we're not even being asked to really,
Right,
Not the sign
it's
itself.
the site plan special permit.
All right.
So that could be why.
all right, that's fine. Like I said, if it's us, that's fine.
Yep,
There seems to be a connection between the two, that's fine.
right.
But either way, I think we're more concerned, with what does it really look like, and is it really gonna work? So, all right?
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
I read that over and I had no idea.
No, because it's not, it's
How are
administrative.
you this evening? Do I look good?
All right, so moving on to agenda item C, that is a request from the applicant to continue to the January 7th meeting. So, nobody has any other comments, I'll take a motion to continue that to
So
7:05 on January 7th, 2019.
So moved.
I have a motion, a second, motion made and seconded, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, motion carries. We have that continued. Moving on to old business. Does anybody have any old business that they would like to discuss at this time?
One thing, I like the email that you sent in regards to the hotel and turning the building.
Yeah,
I
I forgot, that's right, I sent this after we
I thought that
got...
was a pretty good idea. I don't know if it'll get to the right, I hope it gets to the right people with what you said in the email. I thought it was great.
Thank you. So, continue that. Anyone else with any other old business items?
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
May I? So in regards to, I just have an update for, in regards to the hotel.
Okay,
We were just,
how timely.
so the mini trial will take place, on February 6th, and that will determine if the
Traffic issue?
the traffic issue holds standing, has standing. If not, if it does have standing, then they will plan the next hearing date.
Okay.
So that's all, just to let you guys know that it's February 6th at 9:30 a.m. Yep.
Were we able to get any kind of confirmation on what information we have forwarded for this?
I'd have to check in with Steve on that.
Yeah, would you do that? Just because I'm trying to figure out, like, what have they asked for and what have they gotten from us in terms of what we did in relation to looking at the traffic? Because, like I said, I feel it was substantial, and I'm curious to see, how that information has or hasn't been made part of all of this.
And town council was going to reach out to you, so I'm not sure if that did happen.
Not yet, no.
Oh, okay.
And which town council is doing this?
That's Kevin Feely.
Okay. All right. Any other old business items? No other old business. Any new business? Seeing no new business. Any correspondence? We have one correspondence in the packet. It pertains to 395 Woburn Street. You guys have you've all had the package, so you've seen it. Or maybe you're seeing it now, I don't know. You got this late, so. What I would say is, between now and maybe the next meeting, if we could individually see if we can't take a run by and see what it looks like.
I was there today.
Okay.
It's in tough shape. The road, there were some water main improvements,
Okay.
but was that part of the project?
What improvements, Eric?
There was some water main improvements, and I'm not sure if those were part of the project to bring
It doesn't sound
utilities.
familiar, I don't.
Okay, because I mean, it looks as if they brought in fire suppression.
Yes.
So I didn't know if that went as part of, is that part of the project, or was that a town, because the road is in very, very tough shape. And if it, in fact, it is part of the project, that we can ask the town DPW or engineering department to reach out to the contractor and have them appropriately patch and repair the road. And if it's not able to be patched and repaired, at least milled and overlaid, so we're not, the town's not owning that portion of the roadway. It's in tough shape.
So we'll check on that part, but, and then beyond that, on the, you know, the need for whether or not more screening and landscaping might be necessary. So try and take a ride by and see where that stands.
I've been there, Steve.
I mean, there's a difference between what they were already supposed to do as part of what we approved, and then whether there's still addition that might need to be added on top of that as an after effect. I'm not, way I'm reading this, it sounds like there's some things they were supposed to do and haven't even done those. And then on top of that, there may still be a need for some additional landscape, you know, or screening or something added. So maybe between now and the next meeting, try and take a look, see where we stand. Maybe we could check with the property owner and confirm what they have or haven't done on, you know, in terms of the requirements from the permit.
So, Mr. Chairman, I did try to reach out to the main contact.
Yep.
Who's representing the property owner, and he failed to respond to my.
Who was the main contact, just out of curiosity?
I'd have to look at this.
It's not Attorney O'Neill.
No.
Okay.
No, this is a, like a project manager for the contractor.
Well, let's see if we can.
Ted Danielson?
Yes, that's who it is. And so I haven't been able to get in communication with him despite trying to reach out to him. Ed Johnson was able to talk to him about the construction vehicle complaint that this resident also had discussed, that I brought up a couple meetings ago. And the contractor, the representative said that they were going to resolve that. But he has not responded to my communication, so it's been very difficult.
All right,
Yeah,
so
I can try to
on the next time when you ask them to respond, include in that it would be our preference that they do so we are not required to call them and make them come back in here. Because that's what we're gonna do next. If they can't answer the phone and respond when you call to ask questions for us, we'll simply ask them or tell them they need to come back in here, and it's not really preferable.
You know, by reading the minutes and stuff from that meeting way back, okay, I mean, we have a lot to stand on.
Oh, yeah, no, it was definitely quite a bit discussed, yes.
We have a lot to stand on with what was suggested and what they were supposed to do. Matter of fact, I think it was like 8 or 10 different things that were, 8, that was supposed to be put on the sign and whatever else they had going on there
Yeah.
at
So
that time.
let's see where we stand on the things we had already asked for, and then we can go out there and take a look and see, you know, if we think there's some other stuff that maybe needs to be done. Does that work for everyone?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've been there, Steve. I was there last week. I brought it up at the meeting before that, saying it's pretty bare.
Right.
So I know that, but, so the fence that was discussed there, Is that going on the right-hand side, or to, where the butter is living?
That sounds like what I recall.
This is 3 sides of the property. Solid 6-foot vinyl fence being installed on the north side of the property with a 6-foot chain link installed on all other 3 sides of the property. So the north side would be a 6-foot vinyl fence, and then the remaining 3 sides would have a 6-foot chain link on the other.
But the north side would be where the butter is.
Correct, yeah.
But it's pretty bare as far as trees, so I think we'll be having, coming back in about adding trees, I think, in my opinion, so.
Well, if we're gonna check, I suppose just now's the time, because boy, it won't get any barer than it looks now.
Absolutely.
So. All right, so that takes care of correspondence. Anything else from anyone? All right, so this is our last meeting of 2018. I wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. We'll see everybody on the 7th of January, 2019. All right, thank you. Good night.
Motion to adjourn?
Oh, I'm sorry. Second. Motion made, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.